What's going on, guys? It's Sully. Today we're working through the Bouncy Castle course in Golf with Your Friends. I'm going to show you how to get par or better for the course. Now, I'm not going nuts to get as many hole-in-ones as I can. It's not necessary. The 60 stroke total for the course for par is extremely lenient. We're going to get a bunch of pars along the way that maybe could have been more carefully worked as a stroke or two better, but it's not necessary. So for example, this first hole, I'm just going to go about 2.5, aim it kind of a little left of the center, wait for that hammer to get out of the way, and there's a recessed hole here. This is an easy hole-in-one, but if you need to tap in because you didn't have the right angle, it's not a problem. Par or birdie on this first hole is fine. And par, honestly, on every hole is fine because there's really, even the most complicated holes are easy to get par on. So for the second hole, we're going to go for a par again, which is 2 strokes. We're going to go in between the hazard and the purple rail at 1 bar strength. Then we'll just aim at the cup, which is in a recessed area. We'll go about 2/3 power and right into the recessed hole. As long as you're anywhere near it, you'll get pulled in. For hole 3, you're going to see that the yellow tube in the back with a back wall, and you see where I'm pointing, there's a red line that's not quite horizontal, it's slanted slightly up, left, down, right. We want to be at about 2.5 and aim to the left side of that red line. And then when the back bumper starts coming down, you let it rip. Very possible to hole-in-one this if you're lined up properly, but again, it's not necessary. So we'll just get a simple tap in for par. For hole 4, what we want to do is bank it off of the left wall into a recessed hole in the back. You see the discolored section that's dark green and blue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to aim to the left of this green swirl at about 2 strength. It's going to get me over to this area with the recess, and I didn't get in it, but I'm not even sweating it. If you aim it slightly differently, you can get in this and save a stroke. I'm still on pace for par. This far section has another recess in it with a hole, and I'm going to aim over there with 2 power, and once the wind goes off, I'll get right in this hole, and then I'll aim for the cup with a little less than 3 power. That's going to bring me right into an area with, as long as you land in this area, you'll get brought right into the hole for par or birdie if you had a better first shot than I did. This is the hole where you're going to make up 3 strokes, and let me tell you how you're going to do it. This is 2 strokes into the hole, and what you want to do is you want to just miss that first arm as it comes down. So it's all about timing there. Then once you do that, it's a little over 2.5, maybe like 2.65 straight ahead, right into the hole for an albatross on a par 5, and that saves you 3 strokes. So we're way ahead of the game now. And again, not going crazy for holes-in-one, get them when they come. Here, I believe you could find a way off of these green and blue arrow to get a hole-in-one. I don't go crazy for that. I just go about a little over 2 on the left side of this triangle. It's going to get me right near the hole. With a lucky line, it might get you in for a hole-in-one, but we're not going crazy for a hole-in-one on this hole or on any hole. Now on hole 7, we're going to go about a little over 2.5 to the left of the bumpers. And we're going to get in a position where we're just right in this region. It doesn't matter where, because there's a giant recess into the final hole. So I'm going to go at 3 towards the center of this area. As soon as they start popping down, I'll just take that 3 strength shot. We'll get pulled in the top hole and end in the final hole. And that's an easy birdie. So for hole 8, you want to go about in the middle of the square to the right of center. You want to go about 1.8, 1.85 on the strength. And that should get you right up and in for a hole-in-one. Easy. Now for hole 9, it's just a 100% power straight ahead. It's just a timing. You'll see a rotating, well, I call it a lollipop. As soon as it gets, you see there's big ones and small ones. Small, bigger, bigger, biggest. What I do is I wait for that biggest one to go to the right, and as soon as that biggest one is hitting the purple side on the right, I just take my full strength shot. Easy hole in one. For hole 10, there's a way to get a hole in a 1. It's complicated. Again, we're not going nuts, so I'm just going full strength. Now you see you've got the yellow tube, an upright purple bumper, and you want to go just to the right of that upright purple bumper. And if you need to use the free cam to take a closer look at what you're dealing with over there, you can. But I just go full power over here, and then I go full power straight ahead. And I'm going to bounce off that back wall and get right up to where I want to be. Look at that. I don't even have to bring a third shot to get this time. It worked out well. For hole 11, this one is tricky because I'm not sure there's timing of an upward wind that's like on and off for 5 seconds alternating. And when you get to where this shot is going to get you to, which is right off the middle of that triangle in the back, you want to get lifted by the wind. And if you don't, because the wind is off, it's an extra stroke. See, for me, the wind was on. So what I'll tell you is if you don't get up here, it's just going to cost you 1 extra stroke from maybe down where that yellow triangle is to hit into the wind so the wind lifts you up to here. Now, it's a full strength shot. You can see the shadow of the hammers, and if you look up in the upper right hand corner, you'll see some hammers. What I like to do is when that second shadow starts going up, I hit it. So I end up in this final section. And now you're in the back. You need to go about 1.5, maybe a little more, past the hammers and into the hole. So for hole 12, I just go a little right of center, so if I get pulled with the rotation, it compensates for that. And I'm going to go about 3.5. And that's going to get me to the second area. Now here, I'm going to go about, again, 3.5. I'm going to wait for the first one to go by, and I'm going to go. There's two spinning blockers. The first one is big, and the second one is small. Now for this one, I just want to get to the final section without hitting anything, so I'm going to go about 3.5. As soon as this first one comes by, I'm going to go. Now, whether or not I get in here is irrelevant. I might have hit things properly to get in the divot and get in the hole, but it's an easy tap in for par, and I'm not worried about eking out every shot. Hole 13 is one of the more complex holes. I'm going to look to the left, and do you see the brick dividers above the checkerboard? There's a black line. I'm going to aim for that black line in the vicinity of where that black line hits the checkerboard area at about 2.5. And this is just going to get me up and around and down to the lower section. And in this lower section, there's this ramp right here. I'm just going to go just a little left of center, full strength on the ramp, and that's going to get me lined up in this area on the left. Now you might end up on the right, it's hard to say, but now I'm just going to go full strength at the top of the ramp. And I'm glad you saw that, because this has happened to me before. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to, so I'm going to try it again, full strength up towards the top of the ramp. Having some problems here. We'll try going a little more to the left here and hit this yellow bumper and ride it around. So that was a better shot. And I'm going to end up with a par on this. Even if I had a bogey or a double bogey, it wouldn't have mattered. Ideally, the first shot on the ramp, hit that yellow bumper to give it a better ride around the top and up to that purple wedge to knock it down into place. Now for this, you've got the raising and lowering ramp, and you've got the raising and lowering gate. What you want to do is you want to try to hit the ramp at about that angle right there. So I'm going to wait for it to start coming up. There we go. the second shot is always going to be easy on this one, as long as you get somewhat close to the hole. So that one is just about timing and trying to time the angle of the ramp and not hitting the gate. And if you hit the gate, no big deal because you're close. Now, this is the most complicated hole in my opinion, or one of them. What you're going to do is go full power off to the right, actually about 3.5 off to the right. And you just want to time it so you don't hit any of these bumpers. And you get down to this lower section. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go about 3.5, and I'm going to aim it a little left. Say this is lined up with where that blue light hits the conveyor belt. I'm going to go a little to the left of that. And that's not the shot I wanted, so I'm just going to take an easy shot here, about half a bar, just to get into the next area. And then from this area, you just want to go through the ramp and hope to not hit too many of these propellers. I hit a bunch of them, so now we're looking for a straight shot to the hole. From where I am, it's probably about a 2. Again, I said this was the most complicated hole. I'm just trying to get through. I got a par. It's really not too easy to get a birdie or even an eagle on that if you get better shots on your first and second shot. But again, we're so far ahead there that it's irrelevant if we lose some shots. Here you're going to have, this is going to take 3 shots. First shot, you just want to go full strength right into the center hole. Second shot, you want to go full strength into the right hole, the one with the golf ball. Now in this area you've got wind, wait for the wind to disappear, and go full strength into the left hole with a T. And that should get you right into the hole. For an eagle. That's a pretty easy eagle on that. And again, we're way ahead. I've got 19 strokes to give and a complicated hole and then an easy hole. So what I'm going to do here is about 3, a little less than 3.5, and as soon as they start fading in, I'm going to shoot. Now, I'm going to ride it down to the lower area, and if you had gone much more than maybe 3 1/4, 3 1/3 power, you would overshoot the ramp and you wouldn't end up down here like this. You're always going to end up around in this vicinity, and I just want to do full strength towards the middle of the opening under this ramp once the boppers go by, and that's going to get me over to here. That was unlucky. I've not had that happen before. I've played this hole a few times. So let's try it again. Maybe I'll go about 3.5. Never been up here before. Usually I end up at the base of the conveyor down here, which is where this is going to get me now. It's going to have taken some extra strokes, which we've got the strokes to give, so it doesn't matter. But ideally on the second shot, up the ramp and around, you end up around down here. Obviously we didn't make it, so it's going to take me a few extra strokes to get down there. And then from down here, you'll see that these spinners leave you an open row, so you want to go about 3, 3 1/4, and just... You want to be just left of center so the bumpers on the third spinner don't... That was a terrible shot. So that the bumpers on the third spinner don't get in your way. I shot too soon there. Having some problems. So let's take this a little more slowly and not get knocked. There we go. That's a shot I had been looking for all along. So this hole was a mess. Look at that. I was 2 over par, but I'm still 12 strokes under, and this is an easy 2 for the final hole. You just very few variables here. Full strength, straight down the center, and you're going to end up with an easy tap-in. This hole is giant. You can go about half from here, right in the hole. And there's your easy under par. Now I made a mess there towards the end with the double bogey on 17, and you see I still come in 10 strokes under par without having gone nuts for every hole in one I could get. So this is a pretty easy par course. That'll get you the par or better achievement on that course, and you should be done. Now what I will mention is for the other achievements, obviously just completing that course on Classic, regardless of par or better, will get you one of the achievements. And then you need to do the hockey and the dunk versions of the Bouncy Castle, and you could play through it at your slowest leisurely pace with the worst score possible. You can actually just forfeit all 18 holes back to back to satisfy those 2 achievements. And that's it for this DLC. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video.